Hey, welcome to the United We Scan podcast. Just a quick disclaimer here that any of the views and opinions expressed by the individuals are not that of the USPS or the NRLCA. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and if you are in need of any assistance, please contact your designated union representative. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 145. Not going to be a very long episode tonight, but we've had some requests, so we're going to touch in on how mutual transfers work for regular carriers, and how we decided we'd go ahead and start the night off with how an RCA can transfer from one office to another. But other than that, how was your week, Josh?
My week was pretty good. We changed our start times starting this past Saturday to 7 a.m. for one zone of the city carriers and all the rural routes. And let me tell you, getting up and out of the house an hour plus earlier is not fun. Getting done about an hour earlier is nice, though. How was your week?
My week was good. Sorry, I'm stuffing my face with food too. I'm like, Mom. That's what happens when you do your route and then you're multitasking all the time. But my week was pretty good. There was nothing really too memorable. I was off last Thursday because my son got an award at school, so that was fun. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. How was your week, Kristen?
Oh, this past week, I thought it was Christmas again. It was a heavy week for me, but I got through it. Monday and Tuesday, actually, this week were much better than last week to a point. Still a little heavy, though. But, it is what it is, and we push through it. And I'm out of town today and tomorrow for some training. I can't elaborate on it, but it is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and I'll know if I'll actually get to do it tomorrow by the end of the day. So, and then the
We wish you luck.
Thank you. And then the 4-hour drive home, and then yeah, yeah, and then I have to work Friday morning. So yeah, that's gonna be a rough one because it'll be. Well, I worked Tuesday and then drove the 4 hours down here, so I checked into my hotel at 9:30 on Tuesday night. So it's Friday. I'm not looking forward to it, but that's what it is. We'll push through. But other than that, it hasn't been too bad. It's been going pretty decent. Nothing spectacular or exciting per se. So, but if y'all are familiar, or you have the app, or you get on the website, you do know that the new contract is in print form, flipbook form on the PDF, and from what I've seen on the push notifications, the union is sending a copy out to every union member. Look for that. Everybody will have a printed version of the contract. So I think that's pretty awesome. So watch your mailboxes for that here in the future. Not so far off.
It is a green cover this time.
Yes. So I really think that's nice that they sent out the whole contract list to everybody. All
They
right.
did it last time too. I have mine like in my drawer, and I have my name wrote all big on it.
Oh yeah, that's right, because they were the purple cover, wasn't it?
It was blue.
Blue? Maybe the purple one was the one before that. I know I have
I think
one of them at my case. I just don't remember which one it is. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start off with the quick and easy way an RCA can transfer from one office to another. I have done it, so I can tell you it's pretty easy. It's not difficult at all. It's covered in the contract under Article 30.2.f, which is point 1. So, reassignment, transfer to another office, a substitute rural carrier associate or a rural carrier relief employee who has completed the probationary period, which is now 90 work days or 180 calendar days as opposed to the 1 full year. So, once a relief employee has completed the probationary period and then submits a written request for reassignment, may be reassigned from one office to another, provided a vacancy exists and the leave replacement ranks in the office to which reassignment is requested. A vacancy exists if the office is less than the total number of routes in that office. Oh, the total number of leave replacements assigned to the office is less than the total number of routes in the office. In addition, a leave replacement vacancy exists if the only route in the office is an auxiliary route and there is no assigned leave replacement or assigned backup leave replacement. Such reassignment shall be considered as an in-service placement. So basically, if you're an RCA and you want to transfer to a different office that has a different postmaster, and you talk to them, or you see that they have a outside posting for an RCA. I mean, that's how I knew there was an opening in the office I was looking to go to. We called management. We got in touch with the postmaster. She wanted to meet me. We set up a date and time. I went over there. We talked, blah, blah, blah. And then I just submitted. I know you can find some forms floating around on the interwebs, and I think there might be one under the Steward Reference Guide. Don't quote me on that, though. And otherwise, I know you can find forms, or you can just have a sheet of paper dated, get it round dated by a clerk, saying your intentions to, your RCA so-and-so, your EIN number, and you put in your intention to transfer to such and such office from such and such office. And you submit that into the incoming management. Make a copy for yourself, make a copy for your steward. Doesn't hurt to make a copy for your office too. It's always the receiving postmaster that's going to start the paperwork. Your outgoing postmaster, once they get it, they can hold you up to 30 days. Now, mine in my case was happy to get rid of me as soon as she could. So mine was actually 21 days. It was towards middle of the pay period when I submitted the request. She had me finish out the pay period, work one more pay period, and then I was out the door and started the very next day, the newest pay period in the new office. Pretty simple. I remember walking into that office because my old office was an academy site. And so, I've seen people. I walk in there and I had 2 RCAs instantly that recognized me from going to academy at the office I worked at. One's like, "Aren't you at the wrong office?" I'm like, "No, I'm here now." Because I remember him because he had actually stopped to talk to me while I was casing up mail on the route I was on that day when they did a walkthrough with the class. So that was actually pretty cool. But yeah, so one thing is, as an RCA, if you transfer offices, you do go to the bottom of the office seniority list. It doesn't. You're not starting over in time time of service.
Probationary.
Yeah, or probationary. You go to the bottom of the office seniority list. So basically, any RCA that was there ahead of you has more seniority over you. However, if, let's say, though, you transfer to an office that has a bunch of RCAs that have only been there for a couple months, and you've been an RCA of a year or more, I'm not putting it for PTF bidding, I'm just saying for regular, and a route opens up to bid on. You have that year in to bid on a regular route. You can bid, and if no other RCA is eligible to bid, then you would leapfrog over them and go career first. So there is that perk to it if you transfer to an office. However, if you have other RCAs that have been there longer enough to be able to bid, they will, and even if you have more years of service in, you do lose that office seniority. So if you've got an RCA that's been there 2 years, you've got 4 years in, you transfer, a route comes up for bid, they'll be able to outbid you, plain and simple, because it is the office seniority. The only way to leapfrog that is if no other RCA was eligible to bid.
I would say that's presuming they bid correctly.
Correct.
I would also add with all of it too, each person has their own different reasoning for wanting, as RCAs, wanting to go to another office.
Mm-hmm.
But just be mindful of losing the seniority, and sometimes, there's you may be in a smaller office and you're wanting to go to a larger office because you think you might go career quicker. Just be wary and just do your research about the office that you're trying to get to, and maybe you can reach out to your district representative steward to find out information about that office, talking with that postmaster. I would also ask, how long is it averaging for people to go regular in that office? Because I've seen where people have the grass is greener in another office and thinking that they were going to go regular quicker than they would have if they would have just stayed. And then they ended up having to wait like another year. So it just all depends upon the circumstances for each of the offices. So just do your research.
And while you may be transferring, I mean, if you're trying to transfer into a better environment, I mean, that's one thing. If you're transferring because
Yeah.
you're moving, then that might not be relevant on where you're going to be in the seniority list when it comes, to be able to bid. For me, it was a personal decision based off relationship and moving. I wasn't going to drive
Yeah.
120 miles one way and so yeah. So after I transferred out, over the next couple of years, I mean, it still took me 6 years after I transferred. No, not 6 years. 5.5 years after I transferred to go full time, where I saw several people that were behind me in seniority at my old office go full time before I did. So, that's, but again, like I said, I wasn't
It's
driving
the ebb and
100.
flow of life.
It is. It is. I wasn't transferring for that chance to go full time quicker. Now, in my office that I transferred to, the one I'm currently in, went full time in, we did have an RCA several years ago who did transfer to a neighboring office because they did have a route that was going to go up for bid, and they did not have any eligible RCAs to bid, and he just so happened to live in the same town, like around the corner from this office. So he had it worked out to where he was able to transfer in, was on the payroll prior to that route going up for bid, and was able to bid and go regular on that route within a couple months of transferring. So that was, that's
So,
another decision that he had made to do that. And he was in the
like,
middle of the pack in seniority in our office.
one of the neighboring offices, which is a lot smaller than where I'm at, was extremely desperate at one point in time, and we had a bunch of people, RCAs, transfer over. And I thought about it, transferring down there, but then, it also, they were going through a construction boom at that point. So going regular would have been probably quicker or comparable time. And after thinking about it, I'm like, I'm already driving almost 30 miles one way to the station I'm at. This is going to be another 5-10 miles down the road, and I'll be stuck in that building once I go regular. There is no swap, the ability to bid to a route in a different building. So I opted not to in the long run.
Yeah. Well, and it just depends upon the circumstances in your under the umbrella of one postmaster. If your city has multiple stations, you're if you're a
Right.
sub for under one postmaster, you could be utilized other places there. But there's some that are just like it's just one building for the city.
Right.
The other
Yeah.
thing to kind of slowly start moving it towards the regulars being able to the mutual transfer of regulars is PTFs are not able to do a mutual transfer. The PTF is assigned to the office that they won the award in, and at one point my office actually was bleeding out RCAs wanting to jump ship and go to different neighboring cities, and so they posted a bunch of PTF positions to try and retain them. So that's an option that management could try and do to help with retention, but so that's the good bad of that. If you are an RCA or a PTF, and you're looking and regulars too, I would, before we get into the regular mutual transfer part, there's a lot of district postings that get posted all over all the time. I guess it kind of depends upon the area that you're in. My area, there's like a district posting, I feel like every month, like PTF positions, vacant routes, you name it. And so if you are having the itch to move somewhere else, or life circumstances are changing, or no matter what it is, you have that ability to look at those postings and you could bid on one of those postings. Now, I will also add, if you bid, you need to make sure that you are ready and willing to go if you win the award. Because if you do win the award, the only other option you have is to quit, which sucks. But so take that with some caution there. But that is also another option that we have as rural carriers. I wish
Yep.
we had a national one where, like, let's say that I know I think you guys have talked about this before, where
Yeah,
maybe it goes district.
I had
Yeah,
put in a resolution under the previous contract negotiations a couple of years ago that literally had outlined of and I'm going to resubmit it this year. I'm going to tweak it up a little bit and resubmit it since we're under
I was
new
just going to say that.
contract. And
yeah,
basically, it was the in-house posting, the district posting, back to the in-house for those out of probation, and then usually it will bounce back out to district again, and then it can get posted to the public at that point.
yeah,
Prior to that occurring, I had submitted a resolution for a national wide posting bidding position. I mean, I had it outlined date wise, extended it out just a little bit, highlighted to where any moving expenses were upon the uh, the carrier themselves. They would have so many days. I mean, I was pretty detailed right into the
yeah.
language. And like I said, I'm going to go and just double read that and tweak where I need to resubmit again this year to get it back on the table. But yeah, I would love to see an actual established nationwide posting. I have heard it's happened in the past, but it's very rare. And that way, I know that it could possibly help people that are
Oh,
looking
yeah.
that can't get a mutual if it just happens with the amount of routes I know that have been bouncing back and forth between the office and district on a continuous basis. I mean, something like that would definitely
Stop
be
the bleeding of what's going on, and you got people who are already
yes,
trained and ready to go and
yeah,
are ready
And are
to
looking
go
to move.
travel.
yep, yep.
Yeah,
I would,
yeah,
the only thing I would say cautionary in regards to whether it be PTF or regular district-wide bid is find out the reason. Why can't they fill that route? It
yeah. I
could be
mean,
as simple as they don't
yeah,
have the RCAs with enough seniority to bid on it.
yeah. Or or it also could be that it's an office where they just are bleeding people dry.
Yeah.
You just never know the
Yeah,
circumstances. Um, but I mean, a lot of the ones that I've seen, and it changes off of what I see, but a lot of it is because the RCA's don't have enough time in to bid, and sometimes it'll go
right.
bounce district and then go back to the office and then they're good. And I think now that they changed that probationary bit, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's helped with like the PTF postings specifically. So um, there's that. But so mutual transfers for regulars, and I'm gonna read, or do you want to read it, Josh? That language
Either or, it's only two paragraphs in a
paragraphs.
sentence.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
let you read it.
3 paragraphs. All right. It's in Article 12, which is Principles of Seniority, Posting, and Reassignment. Dot 5, which is Rural Carrier Reassignments. Dot A, General Reassignment. Dot 3 and 4, which says regular rural carriers of different post offices may affect a mutual exchange of offices, provided rural carriers and installation heads involved have signed a mutual exchange request form. Once the form is signed, the mutual exchange will be considered final and binding and can only be canceled if all parties agree. If such an exchange occurs, each rural carrier will be assigned to the residual vacancy at the office to which reassignment is in accordance with Article 12.3.c.3 12.2.b. That's 12.3, C as in cat, 2B as in Bravo. Section 4. A mutual exchange between regular rural carriers in the same post office or between a rural carrier and a member of another craft is prohibited. That is the contractual language on that. So,
Do you want to read the other part too?
which part?
There's another section that has it too.
If you have it up, you can take
I
it.
do.
I'm not sure where that.
So it is 12.3.A.1.D, and it is when rural carriers of different post offices agree upon a mutual exchange of offices, and if all installation heads involved approve the position currently occupied and to be vacated by each rural carrier will be posted for bid within each of the respective offices. Mutual exchanges may not be approved in an office to which a rural carrier has retreat rights or to an office that has excess rural carriers. So let's say me and Josh wanted to do a mutual exchange. Then there is a form, and like me and him have communicated about this, and I, like let's say like I'm selling my house or I have my lease is up, whatever it may be, make sure that you have your ducks in a row, I should say, and your all your business and whatever you need to do so that when this happens that you're ready to go. You'll take what's called a mutual exchange request form, which is on the NRLCA website, and I think some of the managers also have this form. And it's the following regular rural carriers request a mutual exchange of their respective post offices in accordance with Article 12.5.A.3. And then the one section of it will be rural carrier A. So I'd fill that out. And then rural carrier B would be where you're transferring to, or like in this case, it would be Josh's office. And then it says on there, the signatures on this form signify the understanding of each individual that each regular carrier involved intends to be reassigned and work at the other carrier's office. Neither rural carrier intends to retire, resign, or leave the rural craft in lieu of transferring and being employed at the other office. This mutual exchange will be considered final and binding when both carriers and both installation heads involved have signed this form. It may only be canceled if all parties agree. The purpose of both routes for regular rural carriers in each installation the postings of both routes for regular rural carriers in each installation will occur within a reasonable time after completion of this form in accordance with Article 12.3.A.1.D. And then it has lines for Office A and then the rural carrier and the date. Office A, postmaster, or the installation head, your acting postmaster, and then their date, and then same thing goes for Josh would sign it, his postmaster would sign it. And then if the mutual exchange includes more than two carriers, use a second form to record the additional carriers and postmasters. And so then you could do like A, B, C, and D. So let's say it's a 4-way swap, which is crazy, but it's happened.
Mm-hmm.
I know of
I
a
think
6-way that happened.
I was going to say the craziest one is a 6 that I've heard too. Yeah. So then in that case, they would use 4 forms. But just make sure, use caution in this. One of the things, if you are somebody who's interested in a mutual transfer, typically what happens is a long time ago, I know they used to just publish like a bunch of them in the NRLCA newspaper. So one advantage to actually you being a union member is that in the back of the magazine that you get from them, that it has like people who are interested in doing mutual transfers across the entire country. Some states also Their state newsletters sometimes have it in there. But the most common that I have seen is that there's like a Facebook group called for like rural mutual transfers, and that's typically where a majority of them that I've seen happen. It's also kind of a word of mouth. Some people meet at different conventions, like area conferences and even the national convention, and then people do mutual transfers from that. It's just a matter of having the communication and seeking out that mutual transfer. One of the and then another less common thing that I've seen is there's also like a Discord server for it. So if you're very much interested in it, there is different avenues for you to try and find that mutual transfer. The other thing, and other people I think have reached out to like state union presidents or other members in different states to see if there's anybody that they know of that are trying to get to a different location. One of the biggest misconceptions that happens with surrounding a mutual transfer is that people think that you're guaranteed to get the route that person you're transferring with is leaving. And that's not the case. So based off of the language that me and Josh read, the route goes up for bid, and anybody in the office can bid on it, including yourself. But what's going to happen is you're essentially going to get whatever the residual vacancy is at the end of that posting. When you do a mutual transfer, you retain your years of service, you retain your step, whichever table you're on, your pay, your that level of the pay, like whatever step that you're at, but you do lose your seniority in that office. You go down to the bottom of the seniority list. So like if and that affects, if you submit leave, or I've seen people who have had 20 years of service who have mutually transferred into my office, and I've only been a regular for 8 years, and what is it, 8 or 9 years now? Dang. And I had more seniority than them because I've only been in my own office. So just be wary of that. There's some people who will post, or they will put an ad for a mutual transfer, and they make it sound like, oh, my route is so great, this is what you're going to get. So just make sure you look into that. Do your research of that office. The office that you might be trying to do the mutual exchange with has all POV routes, and you don't have a POV. So you need to make sure that you're ready in case of that situation. Or a lot of the ones I've seen that were not great were the office is mostly government vehicles, but they have maybe like one or two POV routes that nobody wants to be on anymore. And the person doing the mutual transfer, that's what they'll get. So just being mindful of that. Trying to think of what else. What were you going to
The
say?
advantage, I want to say the pros and cons to with the way our mutual transfer process works is the pros are you can have as many people as it takes to get you to where you need to go. So, for example, I'll use the three of us. I want to end up in Michigan, but Kristen wants to go to Colorado because she wants to ski, and Meow's just tired of the mountainous, cold, snow, wet, and wants to come go to the south. Well, the more, which is fine as long as all three of us agree, and then all three of our postmasters or installation heads agree to accept each of us. So the more people involved, the greater the chance of something going wrong is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little bit
The
harder.
one,
and
the one
and that
regular I had, I say the one regular I had, he did someone from my office wanted to go to upstate New York, and which is where he was from. So he took that transfer, the one-on-one, to Charlotte. Then, and the reasoning for that he wanted was his wife was from the middle of Ohio, and he figured it'd be a lot easier to get transfer to Ohio from North Carolina than it would be from upstate New York. And he was the one that actually had the six-way transfer. And it was one person held them up because the receiving postmaster of one of the carriers, she gotten sick and had used a lot of sick leave in the last year, and said, wouldn't sign off on it. Said, you show me 12 months with good attendance, and I'll approve it.
Yeah,
So,
so that
but
one held up everybody else.
right.
What were you going to say, Kristen?
I was gonna say, yeah. So it's when you gotta realize when you do as we were saying, when you're doing a mutual transfer, you're not transferring routes, you're transferring offices. Could it happen that you end up trading out routes? It very well could happen if nobody else in the offices bid on those routes when it went up for bid. But in general, if it's a route that the person is transferring off of, that's you know another carrier in the office has been eyeballing and would prefer that route, well, they're going to bid on it and you're going to get stuck with what's left. Just like when you're an RCA and a position opens up in the office to go regular and you bid all, you're going to get whatever's left if there's a shuffle of carriers around.
And
Yeah, and
speaking,
the
uh,
biggest reason that I've seen that a mutual transfer was denied is attendance. And so I would just, good advice, I guess, for it, but take this with what you will. You do you. I know life happens. Is I would caution, you know, if you're transferring with somebody who is calling in nonstop, you know, the installation heads and postmasters are going to look at different things in each employee's file if they're smart about it, I should say. Some of them just sign off. It's dependent upon that, and you have the ability to file a grievance. That I'm not going to ever say it not, but I don't know if it would be a successful grievance in that regard. But if it was something with FMLA, or there's different circumstances that might change that. But just be weary that the postmasters or installation heads could hold it up like they did in the scenario that Josh was saying.
and that was the best case scenario in that situation where the postmaster said, show me 12 months of good attendance. Some postmasters, nope, I'm not taking on that liability. Period. End of discussion. And then you're back to square one to try and find someone else to fill in that hole.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and I've seen it where somebody had done a mutual transfer, and then she was trying to get somewhere else, and they denied it. The receiving office was like, no, I'm not gonna take that on.
Right. I would say in regards to with the mutual transfers and the posting of the routes, unfortunately, regardless of your seniority and tenure as an RCA, if there is an incoming transfer from a mutual transfer, the RCAs will not be converted because that regular transferring in is taking the residual spot.
Yeah, and that's kind of a misconception that ends up happening, is that some of the RCAs get really hopeful in that scenario, and it's like, no, they're doing a mutual transfer.
Well, they may not know in advance that the reason that the route went up for bid is because of.
Yeah, very true. And they've bid, and they think they're all hopeful that they're going to go regular, and it's like, no, this is because of a mutual transfer. But yeah, good word of thumb with it. Just do your research about that office as a whole. There was another guy who was trying to transfer here from Florida a while ago, And at that time when he was trying to do that, my office had a 28-hour H route, not aux, H route. And he was very worried that if he bid or if he did the mutual transfer and came here, that he was going to end up with a 28-hour H.
Oh,
So
I would be worried about that too.
Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah,
that's a valid worry.
yeah. So he did not end up doing the mutual transfer because of that. And granted, now we don't have that 28-hour H, but that whole office that you might be wanting to mutually transfer to might be just all H routes,
Mm-hmm.
or it might be all over burden routes. You just it just depends upon the circumstances of it. And is it hasn't just been a I shouldn't say it shouldn't be a not a vacant route, but did the regular who got that route, did they just bid to it and none of the RX scans were done? There's different do your research to protect yourself, I should say, so
Yeah.
that you're making a conscious decision and before you take that leap to change your life.
But I would say even, with the RCAs, I would still get in the habit of bidding, just so you're in the habit of how to do it. So that way, when it is your turn to go regular, you are going to bid correctly and cover your bases. And then once you, excuse me, because I was always, as an RCA, I was always told, go regular, then find your home.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, make sure you become regular and then find the route that you want, and bid over to the route that you want. And then you got to remember, when you're bidding as a regular, you only want to bid on the ones that you do want. You don't want to bid on everything like you did as a RCA to become regular.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anything else to add into the transfers?
That I can think of.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's yeah, like I've said it. I just want to reiterate it. Yeah, just be cautious and do your research on it, and um, just so that you know that you did your due diligence and you uh, can figure out your life and not just get screwed over, I guess. So,
Oh,
but it's a good benefit that we have, I think.
I think so too. For those that want or need to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
I would say, if it's something that you're considering and actually go through the process, I wish you luck in the process and happiness in your new home.
Maybe we'll hear of a 10-way mutual transfer.
Oh Lord.
That'd be insane.
That would be crazy.
That
I would
the
love
the
to hear the
The
details.
the
That would
six.
be crazy.
I'm just thinking
The
of the
six is nuts.
paperwork nightmare that would be.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
6-way is pretty crazy by itself.
Oh, it is. It
It-
is. I've heard of
Just
threes and
finding,
fours, but man, the six-way is.
I would love to, not even, I'm not even worried about the paperwork, but if you can get 10 postmasters to sign off on it, I would love to hear start to finish who went from where to where.
Yeah, all for one person to get
God.
where they need to go.
Yeah.
Or in
We've had
this
a couple
case,
Well,
10
3-way ones.
people to get where they want to go. But, all right, guys. I think we'll
Yeah.
just not do a full wind down. But since this is more of the, excuse me, don't mean to yawn, in the middle of the week due to, you know, Sunday was just Sunday for a lot of us. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah.
next Monday is MLK Day.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so we'll record on Sunday as usual. It'll probably be a little bit of a longer episode since we don't have to be up Monday, and be a lot easier to pull out a little bit of a longer episode. But we didn't want to fully skip this week, so we did our tried to cover that request for mutual transfers, through in the RCA transfers in there. Why not? And yeah, we'll call it a night for tonight, guys. How's that sound?
Yeah. That sounds good.
All right. So y'all stay
All right.
safe, stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Don't get overwhelmed. All that good stuff. And we'll be back next week.
Bye.